Jake had always wanted a pet, but he never expected to receive something as unusual as a talking parrot. On his birthday, his uncle surprised him with a bright green parrot named Coco. The moment Jake opened the cage, Coco flapped his wings and squawked loudly. "Hello, hello," Coco repeated, his voice a little scratchy but full of enthusiasm. Jake's eyes widened. "Wow, you can talk." Coco bobbed his head. "Talk, talk." Excited, Jake sat down with Coco perched on his shoulder. He wanted to have a conversation with his new pet, but something felt strange. Coco only repeated random words. There was no structure, no real understanding. "Wait a minute," Jake said, rubbing his chin. "You don't really know what you're saying, do you?" Coco tilted his head. Saying. Jake laughed. "I think I just found my next challenge. If you can repeat words, maybe I can teach you how to speak properly." He clapped his hands. "All right, Coco, from now on, I'll be your English teacher." "Let's start with something simple." Coco blinked. "Simple?" Jake smiled. "Yes, let's begin with greetings." Jake lived in a quiet neighborhood with his parents. His room was small but cozy, filled with books, posters, and a desk where he often sat to read. Coco's cage was placed near the window, allowing him to see the world outside. Every morning, sunlight streamed in, making the room feel warm and bright. Jake pulled up a chair and faced Coco, who was hopping from one side of his perch to the other. "All right, Coco," Jake said, tapping the table. "We're going to start with something easy. Greetings." Coco fluffed his feathers. "Easy, easy." Jake grinned. "Great. The first word you need to know is hello. Can you say hello?" Coco blinked and tilted his head. "Hello, that was perfect." Jake clapped. "Now, let's try how are you." Coco flapped his wings. "How? You are?" Jake chuckled. "Not quite. It's how are you?" "Try again," Coco squawked. "How are you?" "Yes, that's it." Jake was thrilled. He could already see the potential. Now, when someone asks, "How are you?" you can answer, "I'm fine, let's try it." Coco bobbed his head. "I'm fine." Jake beamed. "You're learning so fast. Let's put it all together. I'll say, hello, how are you?" And you answer. Jake took a deep breath and spoke slowly. "Hello, how are you?" Coco hesitated for a second, then responded, "I'm fine." Jake laughed. "This is amazing. Soon, you'll be having full conversations." Coco fluffed his feathers again. Conversations. Jake's excitement grew. If Coco could learn this quickly, maybe he could teach him even more. The next morning, Jake woke up feeling excited. The progress Coco had made the day before was impressive, and he couldn't wait to teach him more. He hurried over to Coco's cage, where the parrot was already awake, shifting from one foot to the other. "Good morning, Coco," Jake greeted. Coco ruffled his feathers. "Good morning." Jake grinned. "You remembered. That's great. Now, let's move on to something new. I'm going to teach you how to ask for things politely. Coco tilted his head. Politely, yes, Jake said, sitting down. When you want something, you don't just say, "Give me a banana." That sounds rude. Instead, you should say, "Can I have a banana?" Coco blinked. "Can I have banana?" Jake laughed. Almost. Say it again. "Can I have a banana?" Coco cleared his throat. "Can I have a banana?" That was perfect. Jake clapped his hands. Now, let's try another one. What if you want some water? Coco thought for a moment. "Can I have water?" Exactly. See? You're learning so fast. Just then, Jake's mother walked into the room. She glanced at Jake and Coco, curious about what they were doing. "What are you two up to?" she asked. Jake grinned. "I'm teaching Coco how to speak properly." His mother raised an eyebrow. "Really?" Jake turned to Coco. "All right, Coco, show her what you learned." Coco hopped excitedly. "Can I have a banana?" Jake's mother gasped. Did he just ask for a banana? Jake laughed. Yes, he's learning how to be polite. His mother chuckled. That's adorable. I guess you'll have to give him one now. Jake quickly grabbed a banana from the kitchen and peeled it, handing a small piece to Coco. The parrot happily pecked at it, making a contented noise. Now, Jake said, I'm going to teach you different ways to ask for something. Coco looked up. Different ways? Yes, Jake continued. Instead of saying, can I have, you can also say, could I get, or may I have, Coco repeated carefully. Could I get a banana? Perfect, Jake beamed. Now try. May I have some water? May I have some water? Coco said, slightly tilting his head. Jake's mother shook her head in amazement. I think Coco is going to be more polite than some people I know. Jake laughed. He's the best student I've ever had. Coco flapped his wings. Best student. Jake patted Coco's head gently. This is just the beginning, buddy. Soon you'll be speaking like a pro. Coco squawked, like a pro. Jake felt a sense of accomplishment. If Coco could learn this quickly, maybe teaching English wasn't as hard as he thought. Jake leaned back in his chair, watching Coco with pride. The little parrot had already learned how to greet people and ask for things politely. Now it was time to break things down and make sure everything was clear. Okay, Coco, Jake said, let's go over what you've learned so far. Coco tilted his head. Go over? Yes, Jake nodded. That means we're going to review. Jake pulled out a small notebook and wrote down 3 phrases. Hello. How are you? Can I have a banana? May I have some water? These are the important sentences we practiced, Jake explained. Now, let's talk about why they're correct. He pointed to the first phrase. Hello. How are you? Is a polite way to greet someone. Remember, Coco, don't say how you are. That's incorrect. Coco fluffed his feathers. How you are. No, how are you? Exactly, Jake smiled. Now, when we want something, we don't just say, give me. That's too direct. Instead, we say, can I have? Or may I have? Coco nodded. Can I have banana? Jake laughed. That was good, but don't forget to say a banana, Coco repeated. Can I have a banana? Perfect. Jake gave him a thumbs up. Now, let's practice again. I'll say something, and you respond. Jake paused, then said, Hello, how are you? Coco immediately answered, I'm fine. Jake grinned. You're getting better and better. Soon, you'll be able to use these phrases in different situations. Coco bobbed his head. Different situations. Jake smiled. That's what we're going to talk about next. The next day, Jake decided to take Coco outside for some fresh air. The sun was shining, and the neighborhood park was filled with people walking, jogging, and chatting. Coco sat comfortably on Jake's shoulder, looking around curiously. As they strolled through the park, Jake's friend Sam approached with a surprised expression. Hey, Jake, is that a parrot? Sam asked. Jake grinned. Yeah, his name is Coco. And guess what? He can talk. Sam raised an eyebrow. Really? What can he say? Jake nudged Coco gently. Go ahead, Coco. Say hello. Coco straightened up. Hello. How are you? Sam's jaw dropped. Whoa, that's amazing. Jake chuckled. Wait, there's more. Coco, if you want something, what do you say? Coco flapped his wings. Can I have a banana? Sam laughed. This is unbelievable. He sounds so polite. Jake nodded proudly. Yep, he's learning fast. And Coco, how else can you ask for something? Coco thought for a moment. May I have some water? Sam shook his head in amazement. Jake, you should start an English school for birds. Jake laughed. Well, Coco is my first student, and he's doing great. Coco tilted his head. Great student. Jake smiled. That's right, buddy. You're a great student. As they continued walking, Jake realized that Coco wasn't just learning words, he was using them in real conversations. This was more than just a fun trick. It was proof that language could be learned through practice and patience. Jake turned to Coco. Tomorrow, we'll learn even more, Coco chirped. More learning. Jake grinned. Exactly. As the sun began to set, Jake and Coco headed back home. The day had been a success. Coco had not only practiced his phrases, but had also used them in a real conversation. Jake felt proud, not just of Coco, but of himself as well. Teaching had been fun, and he realized that learning a language didn't have to be difficult. Once they were inside, Jake sat down next to Coco's cage. All right, let's go over what we learned today. Coco straightened up. Hello. How are you? Jake smiled. Good. And if you want something? Coco flapped his wings. Can I have a banana? Jake nodded. Perfect. And another way to ask? Coco responded immediately. May I have some water? Jake laughed. Coco, you're officially a language expert. Coco bobbed his head. Expert. Jake leaned back in his chair. You know, Coco, learning English is just like this. A little practice every day, and soon it becomes easy, Coco repeated. Practice every day. Jake grinned. That's right. And tomorrow we'll learn something new. Coco fluffed his feathers. More learning. Jake nodded. Exactly. More learning, more fun. The journey had just begun.